black keys, black diamonds, blacked out, black everything, black, black, everything, everything, all black, everything, everything, all black, everything, everything, all black, everything, everything.
I had originally gotten this idea from a video from the popular wild tuber Sarah Panda, as she had played or seen a few games that had been stealing Wildcraft, their pictures, or just their gameplay altogether. This video did really well, and a few months ago I played some off-brand Wildcraft games that had landed on Roblox. However, I wanted to check out my app store, since from what I could see from hers, that she plays on an Android, while I have a app store, which, no surprise, is quite different. However, when I went on the app store, I soon realized that there wasn't as many off-brand. Sure, they may have had the Wildcraft name in it, but they weren't stealing anything. The only thing that was an off-brand could have been something that is completely different, like wolf hairs or the wolf. There wasn't too many off-brand, probably because App Store cares more than Google Play. However, I had found a lot more weird games just focused on the animals of Wildcraft altogether. Example, wolves, lions, or tigers. So, what I decided in this video was I would get a game for each Wildcraft animal in the land world, Maine, and attempt to see how weird these games can get. I picked the most low-rated games, ones with horrible reviews, just to see how deep that people go for these animals. First, we'll start with the wolf. The first one I found was Wolf Simulator Wildcraft RPG. I had noticed that Wildcraft was right in the title, but they, for some reason, split it up into 2 words. I wasn't sure if they were trying to rip off Wildcraft from what I could see in the pictures, but it still looked kind of weird overall. The rating for this was 1 star, and it had 4 ratings. Some of the reviews said that it was terrible and they had so many ads, and that it was nothing compared to the pictures. And terrible graphics as well. I downloaded this one. First of all, the person that said that the graphics looked nothing alike were definitely correct. It was a little bit strange looking. Also, there was a back button, but it just basically threw you out of the game. There was a store, and it was super weird because there was random things that you could buy, like books, bottles, mugs, pencils, a ring, headphones, or even a mobile phone, which was really weird in my opinion. I hit play, and I immediately found ads everywhere. There seemed to be 3 modes, one being story mode, fight mode, and free mode. The pictures on this looked a little bit strange. We went with story mode first, as apparently that was the only one I could play. And definitely different graphics. First of all, the advertisements took up quite a large part of the screen. It did not have smooth graphics at all. The animation was really choppy and weird looking. First of all, it says kill 5 4 rhinos who attacked your chill instead of child. Just kind of kept coming from the same direction, so I assumed that's kind of what I was supposed to be doing. You had to get really close to be able to hit it. And then right there was an advertisement. How fun. Right after you complete the first quest too. First of all, the camera followed extremely slow. And it was really weird and choppy. I could almost barely control it. I don't know why they kept referring to chill. And also, there's no meat on this wolf. There's apparently a health bar, as long as some other buttons. but it wouldn't let me just test them out, so I couldn't really see what they were. My child eats random meat that I apparently found on the floor. I decided to play one more level in hope that maybe there would be a little more to show. If they didn't spell child wrong, I would have given points for actual dialogue. Also, for some reason, I don't know where the mom went. Because apparently I'm a male, and so is my son, who, for some reason, on this day and age, looks like a grown-ass adult. There's apparently an enemy over there that we have to stay clear of, but I guarantee it's going to attack us. Oh, of course, here it comes. It moves incredibly slow, and at some point even turns around and walks away from us. There's apparently other wolves in the water, although I don't know where they were when I went hunting. What great animation for drinking water, too. Right away was that there wasn't as many boxes as there were for wolves. So basically you either had to pay or buy something that was a little bit on the oof side. I found two that I thought would be pretty good, in my opinion. I either could pick one that had almost 4 stars and 3 reviews, or one that had 3 stars and 20 reviews. I decided to go with a 3-star one. It had the category of role-playing, which I thought would be kind of interesting. The most thing that people were complaining about was either the strength of each of the animals, aka enemies, or just the advertisements in general, which seemed to be a lot for these types of games. They said that the graphics was pretty good, which is a big difference from what we had just originally played, so I decided to get this one. When I got in, again, the loading screen looked a little bit strange, but it immediately throws you right into the game. The graphics are in my opinion. They definitely kind of looked like the pictures, but just in general, there was a little bit of the oof side. Some of them look really good, like the alligator or some of the enemies, but the bunnies have like missing textures, and the fox just looks a little strange. There was a selection for what you could do. There's definitely a little bit more on the customization side. I didn't have any coins, and some of these prices were a little expensive, but overall, there was a little bit of customization in this game. There seemed to be a few levels. My first objective was find food. Okay. This is a little strange. Why is there a random blur on the fox's muzzle? Something that I found pretty annoying was that you literally had to hold down the run button to actually run, which in my opinion was a little annoying. There was an energy button and it went down pretty quick, but also this part didn't have any hunting. The food was just on the ground for some reason. If you run out of energy, something weird that I found was that you can't just immediately start gaining energy. For some reason I had to hit the button again for me to actually start gaining back some energy, which was a little strange in my opinion. The eating animation looked a lot like the attack animation. That was actually the area where we saw the wolves, but for some reason they're not there. Not to mention, without me having to do anything, it randomly started giving me a reward or something. I don't know, and it wasn't even one of those rewards where you could click out of it and say no to a random reward that they were giving you. So I just had to watch the advertisement. Reward given, but I wasn't really given anything. My next objective was kind of interesting. I had to kill a few rabbits. For some reason, the prey didn't really run away. They just kind of stood there and took death. find a mate, or a friend as they said it, but it was definitely a mate. I had seen a review where they said that the mate didn't help with hunting, and I really wanted to see that, so I skipped ahead for a few parts. I finally found my mate, and I wasn't sure what I was going to have to do. In Wildcraft, you have to actually attack and injure your mate to assert dominance, for some reason. Apparently, you didn't have to attack at all, and they just immediately follow you, but there is also an unfollow button, which I believe to make your mate immediately leave you. The thing that's a little annoying, though, is that my mate is a physical being, which sounds so strange, but in Wildcraft, you can immediately just go through your mate if they're in the way. In this game, you have to literally push by your mate to even get to the water. I had finally gotten to the objective for me to kill 2 enemies, and for some reason, my freaking mate was gone. And one of the enemies was literally a fox, so I was probably about to kill my mate right here and there. This is a great way to finish off a skit. I appear to be killing my mate. Couldn't imagine better. The animation was quite detailed. And I'm not walking all the way to that. So let's just move on to the next game. Now, there was something quite big about links. Ready to hear it? Well, there wasn't actually any games that I could find that actually revolved around the links. So I decided to just move on to the next one, which would be Bear. Bear Simulator Wild Animal. It was under the category of action and had a 3.6 ratings with 5 ratings in total. The pictures looked pretty realistic, but I had definitely seen those cheetahs in another game. Something that people complained quite a little bit about was either levels or how hard it was to move around. I decided to hit play and immediately go, and there was a little bit of a bear selection. There wasn't as many levels as somebody complained as, which could kind of make sense. I don't know why they randomly used a picture of a bear getting killed in this picture. The gorilla looked extremely similar to the one that TRG used. Also, couldn't control the movements well, and it was stuck in first person, so everywhere you went, you looked, basically. You could stand up, though, and roar, which I thought was a nice touch. Stand up and attack, a normal attack, and what looks to be another type of walk? I wasn't sure. The eating animation looked strange, and I immediately got another advertisement. Well done. Especially because looking at it, my freaking mate looks like a child. She is way smaller, and if you've seen bears in the wild, you may tend to know that females may be a little bit smaller, but they are definitely not the size of cubs. The details on this game, well, some of the graphics look okay, but the bear, they definitely ran out for a budget. Also, why is there just a random... I caught it that time. They have definitely spelled partner wrong. What the hell is a patner?